Hi everyone, welcome to the channel dedicated to sharing the profound insights and wisdom of Andromedan contactee Alex Collier. If you're new here, you're in for a journey that expands your mind and consciousness, bringing you closer to understanding the messages from the fifth density Andromedan extraterrestrials. For those returning, we're grateful for your continued support. Before we dive into today's enlightening content, we have a small favor to ask. If you find value in the knowledge shared in this video, please consider hitting that like button, subscribing to our channel, and clicking the bell icon so you never miss an update. Your engagement helps us amplify Alex Collier's message, allowing us to reach a larger audience with these vital messages. We'd also love to hear from you, so please engage with the comments below. Whether it's a question, your thoughts, or even just an emoji for the sake of engagement, every comment counts. We read every single comment, and your feedback is incredibly valuable to us, as it all contributes to our mission of expanding this community. So please don't hesitate to leave your thoughts below. Additionally, if you'd like to support us further, consider giving a super thanks tip by clicking the heart with the $sign. This small gesture allows us to continue bringing you more of Alex's messages, unfiltered and directly from his lifelong experiences with the Andromedans. Today's video includes a compilation of several of the many important questions Alex Collier has received over the past few years, so please sit back, relax, and enjoy today's video.
Who is putting clones and lookalikes in the place of politicians and leaders like Joe Biden and Governor Newsom? Is it the deep state, or is it the white hats? And why are they doing this?
Well, that's the $64,000 question, isn't it? I'm not sure how to answer this question. I'm going to start with the dark contrast first. Yes, they're doing clones. Yes, they're replacing people with actors or CGI. And the reason they're doing it is they're trying to do everything they can to maintain control. Because they realize that the jig is up. They also realize that they're trying to buy time because they're looking for a way out of their situation. On the white contrast side, they are using clones, they're using actors to infiltrate the dark contrast so that they can map exactly everyone that's involved in the systematic control and manipulation of humanity, so that when they finally make the move to take it all down, they are able to get all levels of this system that's been put in place and take the whole thing down like a house of cards. I understand both sides. At times I don't approve or agree with what is going on. But we're not just dealing with third density here. We're also dealing with fourth density. Personalities, personages. And the reason for the white hats to do some of this is to make sure they uncover and they understand the dimensional levels to the system that's been in place. Now they're getting help from the Alliance. Don't get me wrong. The Alliance is directly involved in all of this strategy and the movement benevolent intent, which is what they're doing. They're compressing the dark side. It's the only way I know how to explain this to you. They are literally compressing them into a small space so that when they take it out, the whole thing is removed. Like a vacuum. It's just removed. It isn't just living human beings. We're also dealing with spirit, ghosts, demonic presences. And part of the process, now, of course, the Alliance could do this all themselves. But what would we have learned by allowing us to experience this and see it ourselves? And I'm referring to the military, the White Hats, at all. They're learning the experience of what this all entails. So, because I said earlier, when we move into fourth, there's contrast there as well. Not to this degree, but there's still contrast. And we're going to be passing through lower fourth dimension anyway, where there is this contrast, because that's some of the energies that we're dealing with now. All right, and I'm referring to negative contrasts. This is how you self-empower a civilization, is through knowledge and experience, so that we can make our own choices. Now, you may not like it, and the Q team has been very specific in saying the ending is not for everybody. Well, a lot of people just want to cruise through. That's not happening. No one's cruising through. Okay? We're all earning our PhDs here. Every single one of us involved in this process of ascension. Okay? We're getting PhDs here. And that involves participating in this program, in this process. And I'm told we all agreed to this. Too many people the first time cruised right through, and it didn't turn out well. It wasn't successful. So it had to be redone. And this time it's going to be done. This time it's going to be done. Everyone learned something the first time. Even those who are aware of the situation in higher realms and chose not to get involved, not to intervene. Well, now they're intervening. This will all come out. This will all come out. It's just, how much information can we process? It's like, there are a lot of people that are reading all this data. It's like history books. People went out and wrote books based on books that were written by people who wrote about history, who wrote books based on older books of history that they experienced. So when you're 2 or 3 generations removed from the actual experience of that history, your perspective is not the same. What you're doing in order to make it interesting is you're rewriting history based on your own perspective. That's not living it. That's not experiencing it. And there are people today doing exactly that. They're not engaging. They're researching. but they're not engaging and actually experiencing what many of us are doing. That's cruising. Okay, that's cruising. That's not going to be okay this time. Everyone has to participate. And and I'm doing the best that I can to explain this. And sometimes I just don't have the words. I do know that we're successful. I do know that when we come out on the other end of this, we're going to be mentoring other races and other star nations, because we will have an experience that is completely unique than any other race. And I want to remind all of you, as you begin to hear these promises of avatar bodies, avatar this, clones that, I want to remind you that you are genetic royalty. You are a sovereign soul. You are a multidimensional being, whether you're from 11th density or wherever you've chosen to come into this holograph yourself and be here now. You are absolutely awesome. You are a spectacular, one-of-a-kind being. You don't need an avatar. You are the avatar. You are the essence of all that is. You will always be that. You don't need any of this other shit. That's why they're going to so much trouble to copy you, to steal you, because they will never be it, ever. They will never be what you are right now. Don't sell yourself. Don't do it. Tell them to go fuck themselves.
Is this adverse weather we've been experiencing worldwide these last 2 weeks covering up a galactic war above, as the extreme thunder, lightning, and rain we've been having is the worst I've experienced in my 60-plus years lifetime? Or is it just ascension cleansing? Asks Judy. We've actually really had very nice weather, so I don't know where you might be, Judy.
There's really not much of a war going on around us specifically. There may be some shit going on at the very outskirts of the galaxy of our solar system, but for the most part, everything's locked down. Everything's actually in pretty good shape. And maybe this is the time that I address this issue. We're not only getting hit by gamma rays from supernovas, we're not only going through a massive plasma field, all of those things are true, but we are also going through multidimensional fields of energy that are being brought into our solar system, one, through our sun, and two, when ships come in through portals, and those portals remain open, depending upon the density and where they are, those energies would also be coming through those portals from higher dimensional realms or planes of existence, okay, whichever term floats your boat. So there's a lot going on here. We also have the Schumann resonance. off the scale. We also have the Earth taking in all this energy, processing it, and shedding it as best as she knows how. So, there's multiple things going on. Now, there are a lot of people coming forward and talking about multiple timelines. And I get that they have information, and I get they want to share it. I get they want to present themselves, and they want to get the clicks. I get all that. And I don't know how to say this other than just to deliver it the way I know it. Ladies and gentlemen, multiple timelines is very aged information. We are on a timeline. A timeline. Ascension protocols have been installed. They're being implemented. You have all these resources from across the galaxy and some limited resources coming from the Andromedan galaxy that are here. Now, if we're on multiple timelines, do you think that they've taken all these resources and they've put them on multiple timelines? They have doubled or quadrupled these resources? No. Why would they possibly do that? 2, those other timelines have already been merged, and they've been merging them since 2012 into the timeline we have now. Part of this is the mandala effect, all right? Each timeline would have had some differences. One was very regressive, okay, where the Nazis had total control of the world. Now, I'll get to that in a second. So the mandala changes. Now, on our timeline, many of us that are vintage remember past events differently. Today, history records them in a very different way. Now, my understanding is that when these timelines were merged, those things that were for humanity's highest good would remain in order to make this timeline as positive as possible. So what I'm saying is the merging of the timelines is a direct intervention from extraterrestrial races from multiple time or multiple dimensions. So the exposure of the cabal, the exposure of those in Ukraine, the exposure of the regressive, all of that is part of the sharing of that regressive, that very dark timeline. Okay, the exposure of it, which is something humanity has to become aware of, so that humanity can understand how it happened, what's going on in the background, so that in the future generations just don't go blissfully about their lifetime not paying attention to what's been going on and to what is going on around them, so that humanity does not find itself in this place ever again. So that's the purpose for the disclosure, for the exposure of this dark, nefarious shit regarding children, the underground bases, the off-world slavery and selling of humanity into slavery to other races. Okay, you also need to be aware of this, and that is that humanity has been sold, and humanity has been sold as a food source off-world. Do you understand? That's not happening now, but it has been happening for some time. All of this will come out when the white hats end this shit, when the military steps up publicly and shuts this bullshit down once and for all. And that at that point, this information will begin to really come forward from not only Space Force and, genuine human loving military sources, but also directly from the Alliance, the Off-World Alliance. There will be direct communication. Okay? Everything isn't going to be filtered through the military. There will be direct communication. There will be a sharing of information. There will be a sharing of Earth's past history. Technology is available. Maybe that's what's in the pod that has recorded all of human history. And I've shared this with you in the past about the holographic cameras that can show all of Earth's history and Earth history of each of the races as well. All of that knowledge will be shared with humanity. I don't have a timeline on it. I don't know if I just don't know how that's going to work. I know that future generations will get the maximum of this information, because that's who we're protecting right now, those of us who are vintage. The work we do now is to try to protect those future generations, because we weren't protected from the generations before us because they had no idea. They simply had no idea. This has all fallen to us to do this work and do what we're going to do.
Recently has encountered quite a bit of bickering on Telegram over the Anunnaki, mainly over whether Enki is a benevolent being or not. Some have even implied that Elena is giving wrong information on Enki. Could you be kind and offer us the Andromedan or Zene perspective on Enki?
It would be an honor and a privilege to give you the Zenitaian perspective. And let me add by saying this. As we speak, Enki and one of his sons are in our solar system. Everything I've ever been told about Enki is that not only is he positive, but he is a very loving parent. He got into a scrape with his brother Enlil. Enlil is the full-blood son of Anu. Enki is a half brother. The last time there was an attempt to wipe out humanity, it was only by the graces of Enki that humanity survived. The story of the Ark of Noah. Excuse me, that was Enki. That was Enki preparing humanity for it. Now, that's an abridged story, by the way, a very abridged story of everything that went on. There were many different arcs. But that was Enki that made sure that humanity survived. The one who pulled the plug on humanity was Enlil. Now, he who wins the war gets to rewrite history. That is something we learned from them. All right? The victor gets to rewrite history. Racism, prejudice, all of that's learned behavior. We learned it from them. We learned it from them. Humanity was at one time a single soul group. We all spoke the same language. We all worked the mines. We all worked at creating a civilization for ourselves that mirrored the Anunnaki and other races that were here. That's how we learned, is by watching them and then mimicking what they did. It was then decided that we were getting too smart, too clever, too industrious. We figured things out very, very quickly, and we wanted to emulate them, even to the point of leaving the planet and migrating to other solar systems. That's where they drew the line. The Anunnaki, specifically one. And it was decided that we could not do that because, in his opinion, we weren't offspring, we were slaves. And we needed help. We needed help in order to survive. And some Anunnaki were left here, 200 to be exact. Again, this is where the Book of Enoch comes into play. And if anyone hasn't read it, and you want to know the story of the Anunnaki's relationship with humanity and how everything got so corrupted to where we are now, where children are being sacrificed and all of that, read the Book of Enoch. There's a reason that the Catholic Church took it out, because they didn't want us to know. Okay, because around the 16th century, everybody started to really learn how to read. We became more educated. They didn't want us to know the knowledge. They didn't want us to have the history. So they just removed those things and basically rewrote the book. Rewrote the book. It's a good question. Elaine is very sincere. She really is. And, I know exactly where she's at. Damned if you do and damned if you don't. I've been there. Oh, my God. I was there for years and years and years. So, as she's becoming more prominent and she's speaking out more and trying to share more information, she's going to get the pushback. And that's because there are people who simply are not open to looking at another perspective. You don't have to agree, but do your own damn research. Just don't dismiss anything completely out of hand unless you yourself actually know or have done the research and you see it in a different way. And then it's a conversation as opposed to an argument or a blame. We're all going to have different opinions and perspectives. That's okay. That's allowed, and frankly, it's expected. but it's the dialogue between us that hammers those things out. And somewhere in the middle, we can agree on something. And that's the beginning of building a relationship. Those pieces that we agree on. And unfortunately, we've all been trained to focus on what we disagree with, which of course keeps the shit stirred up all the time and the anger riled, and it keeps us divided from each other. That was planned. That was all planned. So we need to flip that switch, and we need to focus on where we do agree and build relationships from that point on. Okay? It's okay to disagree, but you can't build a relationship unless there is some commonality and some common ground. And if you simply cannot find common ground, then you love them from a distance. That's all you can do. You love them from a distance, and you move on.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you found it insightful, please like the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon so you don't miss out on future updates. If you have any questions relating to today's video, please also leave them below. We read all the comments and take on board what our viewers have to say about Alex Collier's work. Remember, your support helps Alex Collier's knowledge and the messages from the Andromedans reach more people. Also, be sure to visit alexcollier.org to sign up for our regular email newsletter. It's the best way to stay updated with the latest news, exclusive content, and upcoming live webinars. For the latest insights from Alex Collier, check out alexcollier.live. And if you want to explore over 250 past webinars, head over to alexcollier.tv. Thank you for being a part of this journey and supporting Alex Collier's work. We couldn't do this without you, and we're genuinely grateful for your support. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the vast mysteries of our universe. If you would like to see the Andromedan contactee Alex Collier live via video stream, we hold a live online seminar every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. For more information on upcoming live webinars, please visit alexcollier.org.